Hey everybody out there on YouTube. 2 years ago I bought a Thor Hurricane 34J model motorhome, and I had to winterize it last year. And to try to figure out how to winterize it, I did all kinds of searches on YouTube. I looked at the Thor website. I looked all over the place, and I had the hardest time piecemealing everything together that needed to be put together to figure out how to do this. Thankfully, I already had a motorhome previous to this. It was a different model and a different size and everything, but the basics were still the same. So once I did it last year, it took a while to figure out every part of it. And once I figured it out, I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a video for this time, because if there are people out there having the same problem I had, then I'd like to be able to help them so they can see what to do. So again, this is a 34J Hurricane, Thor Hurricane. And it is a Class A, and I'm going to show you how to winterize it. The supplies you're going to need right off the bat is you're going to need a flashlight to get in those little tiny spots. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver or electric screwdriver, whatever you need, whatever you like. You're going to need a 1-inch socket so that you can take off your cap for your water heater. This will fit onto the plug of the water heater. It makes it a lot easier to get this thing off. I learned that after busting my knuckles up a couple times. You're going to need this hose here that hooks to your water pump and then goes down into your antifreeze, which you're going to need antifreeze. I usually go through about 2.5 to 3 gallons of antifreeze to winterize this whole thing. You should have one of these already with your motorhome. If not, you can put one together real easy. Once you see where it is, I'll show you in the video. You can take the plug, take it to the hardware store and find out exactly what size this is and make your own. You're also going to need, when you're done, you're going to need some cleaning supplies. You're going to need some cleaning spray and some towels just to clean up after yourself. You don't want antifreeze sitting in your sinks very long. And a bowl. The bowl just makes it a lot easier when you're doing the antifreeze, just to spray it in here so it's not making a mess, especially in the shower. So the first thing I would say to do with your motorhome before you're going to winterize it is make sure it's washed and waxed and clean. Get everything looking as nice as it can inside and out. And so when you put it away, it's good to go. And when you pull it out, you go camping the day you pull it out if you wanted to. So I'm sure I'm going to miss some stuff here. This is my second time. Yeah, my second time ever winterizing this unit. So I probably will miss some stuff. Hopefully I don't miss much, if anything at all. If I do, or if you know a better way or something better to do when you're winterizing this, please feel free to comment in the comments. You'll be helping me and you'll be helping everybody else who watches this video. So let's give it a try. Let's start winterizing this motorhome, and I'll see you at the end. Thanks. Okay, now that we got all our tools put together that we're going to need to winterize this thing, the first thing we need to do is find the low point drains. On this unit here, I noticed 2 sets of them. One in my little outdoor kitchen and the other on the other side. So let's go take a look at those and I'll show you how to open them up. Now this one here, you just got to open up this main door here. Okay. Now, okay, so underneath the bar here, we have this little door. It opens up, and inside you can see, I'll try to get the camera in there nice and close. You can see there's actually 3 spots here. One is the valve that opens up the fresh water tank. That's right here. We're going to turn that to open up the fresh water, so anything that's in the fresh water tanks can be draining now. These 2 right here, this is the hot and cold, and they go to the wet bar sink up above me. So what I want to do with those, I want to pull them up until they pop up like that, and they'll stay. And then we should have some water. Yep, there we go. We should have water leaking down through there. And we close it. Let's go over to the other side and check it out. The low point valves are right here where your sewer hookup is. So now with these here, again, you've got your hot and you've got your cold. You want to turn them so they're facing in line with the pipe here. This is off when it goes against, crossways. When you turn it this way, it goes up and down, and that's opened up. So open both of these up. Any water that's going to be in that line there will drain out to the bottom as well. Now this is a good time to recommend or talk about your septic system here. I already did mine. We went camping just a little bit ago, so I was able to spend the time that I needed to really flush the system well. But you're going to have to make sure the black water tank and the gray water tank are completely empty, flushed well, and clean. Seal it up good. This one here happens to have a Sani-Flush, which is right here. So I can hook my garden hose up to this, or the hose at my site. I hook this up here, turn it on, and it sends water jets through my black water tank right here. Helps flush it all out real good. It does a really good job of helping clean that up. So now I've got all my low point drains opened. Let's take a look at the water heater. The water heater on this unit is right here. To open it up, you're simply going to turn this little key here and it opens up. Now this is the nut you want to remove. You have to remove this. It's a 1 inch. So if you have a socket that's 1 inch, you can go ahead and use that. That's the best way to get this thing off. I've tore up my knuckles on this. I've tore this up. I've torn that up trying to get a wrench on it. It doesn't work real well. I think they sell something that goes on that, especially to remove it. But if you have a 1 inch socket, that'll work too. So I got my 1 inch socket. I'm going to go ahead and pick that and put it on there. So once you get this thing on here, it's just a simple matter of unscrewing it. Makes life a lot easier than busting your knuckles up with a normal wrench. Once it's loose, take this off. Use your fingers. Now here you got to really be careful. I know this sounds stupid, it sounds really obvious, but make sure there's no hot water in this tank before you unplug this. You're going to get burned. So make sure everything is off. There's water in here, but make sure the water heater hasn't ran for a good day or so, just to really make sure it's good and empty, because water's going to come out and you're not going to stop it. At this point you're going to burn yourself. All right, usually while that's doing that, I just take the little plug here and I'll stick it right up in here, because if I don't put it there, next summer or next spring when I go to open this thing up, I'll forget where I put it. Everything will be gone and I'll have to buy a new one. So just save yourself the aggravation, stick it up there and you'll all be good. You won't worry about forgetting it. We're just gonna let that run. We'll come back to it later and close it up. So now the water heater is fully drained. We let it go. Took only a couple minutes, but I usually let it go about 5-10 minutes just to make sure it's all nice and drained out. You can see it's dry there now. Again, cap right here. We'll put that there. We'll close that up. Good to go. Let's go do the next part. Okay, back from my drive. I drove around for about 15 minutes or so to let the water swish around good and drain. Everything went well. When I turned the corners, you could see the water coming out of the hot water heater. So it's probably a good idea to take a couple of corners as you can and let the water slush around, especially in the water heater. Then I hooked it up to power. I'm going to go ahead and put the jacks down now and extend the slide out, so it's just easier and more room to work inside. All the jacks are on the ground. The motorhome looks pretty level from left to right when I was out there. That's what I was really hoping for. It's still leaning down, but there's not much I can do about that. So next I'm going to go ahead and extend the slide out here. Now it's real important to remember when you're doing the slide out, you might want to stop halfway with the slide out, because you figure I don't need to go all the way out and I'm just doing a little bit of work in here. But if you do that, you can mess up the motors that are actually making it timed so that each side goes out together, it comes back together. So what I was told is you never want to make the motor, you never want to just have the slide go out halfway, either all the way out or all the way in, but never halfway. And when you're pushing the button, you even want to hold the button down a little bit after it's fully extended, and when you're retracting it, hold it down a little bit more even after it's fully retracted. Just helps the motors reset. And there we go. Hold the button down for a little bit, and all done. And I don't care how many times I do that, I always am afraid the motorhome is just gonna fall over to the left. Let me know if you think the same thing. It's just one of those freaky things I think is gonna happen. So now we're inside, we're gonna start working on getting things ready in the inside. To deal with the water system, we really need to be able to get to the water tank. The water tank, and this is underneath the bed, so I gotta remove the mattress and unscrew some screws to get to that panel, and then we can see exactly where the water tank is and how we're going to flush it out with the antifreeze. Okay, so now that we've got this opened up, we're going to go ahead and take a look inside. What we see in here is we got the water pump. We've got the filter right here that you can remove that if you run an antifreeze through it. And we've got the hookup right here. This you'll hook up to the hose and then put that into your antifreeze, and that way the pump will pump the antifreeze out and through the entire system. If you're going to do antifreeze in your system, which I do just because I feel more comfortable with putting antifreeze in here, I feel that I can't mess that up, make sure you close this valve right here. If you don't close that valve, the antifreeze is going to go back into your tank, which is going to be a huge mess, and you don't want that. So make sure you close this valve before you do the antifreeze. Now this model comes with a refrigerator that's got an ice maker in it, in the freezer. I don't generally use the ice maker just because I figure I don't really need ice. If I want ice, I can go buy some ice and throw it in here. And it's one less thing I don't have to winterize then or worry about the lines freezing up. I just leave it dry. So I've never used the ice maker before, but I'll go through how you're supposed to winterize it if you use an antifreeze. So we'll do that in a minute. Right now I'm going to show you to get to the valve, the water running up to the antifreeze, up to that ice maker I mean, it's right down there, right underneath. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that panel and then we'll be back. Now it can be really hard to find the valve under here. I had a real pain in the butt to do it. So I got a flashlight and I'm going to try to show you as best I can where it's at. I got it down here on the floor though to do it. So where the valve is right there. So you see that's the water line coming in, and then that white line there goes up to your ice maker. So as you can see, the handle is turned so you know that it's off. If it was going with the pipe, you know the water's running through it. Right now there's never been any water in there. If you did run water through there and you wanted to drain it, you would just disconnect the white pipe and let gravity do its work and let the water come down that white pipe into a bowl preferably, and then open up the main there so the rest of the water goes down and out of your low point drains. There's also a video I saw on YouTube that talks about using a jumper wire, where you take this panel off right here, and there's two spots in there where you actually put the wire in, and it makes this thing cycle on and keeps going and keep going and keep going and going like it's trying to run water. And instead it draws the antifreeze up through the system, and once antifreeze starts coming out here, you can shut it off and stop doing it. Again, that puts antifreeze in your system. It puts antifreeze in here, and I don't know if you'll ever get that taste out. I think the best way to do this is disconnect that white pipe down below and just let it gravity feed. If you know anything different or anything better, please feel free to comment down below, because I'd love to know, and I'm sure everybody else would love to know as well. Thank you. The next thing we have to concern ourselves with is the hot water heater, which is located in this model under the sink right there. Now, before, they had it so that there were screws there and over here holding that board on there, so you either had to reach your hand over or unscrew it every time. I just used some magnets, and I put the board on with some magnets so I could take it off easily. With this hot water heater, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you turn the top valve right there and the bottom valve down below. It's a little harder to get to, so I'll do that off camera so I'm not struggling. Turn those to the off position. So you want them running opposite of the water lines. This here is your bypass. This has to go that way. So you're turning your bypass on, so now instead of water going through the bottom of your water heater and then out the top where it's hot, you shut off the bottom, you shut off the top, the antifreeze will go right through here, bypassing your water heater entirely, and you won't have to worry about filling your water heater up with 6 gallons of antifreeze. But again, make sure that you turn this valve here to the off position, just like that. And then the one that's down below, you want to do the same thing with that. Turn that to the off position and turn that bypass to the on position. Now, before we go ahead and hook up the antifreeze to the pump inside, we got to turn off all the low point lines again. Otherwise, it's going to suck all the antifreeze into the lines and just right out of the motorhome into the lines here that we already opened up. You don't have to worry about the water heater, because remember, we did the bypass, so the water heater is good to go. We didn't mess with the water with the ice maker, so the ice maker is good to go. All we got to do is turn off the low point valves that we turned on this side of the motorhome and on the other side, and then we can do the antifreeze inside. And we'll close these 2 valves right here. Again, we turn them so that they're going the opposite direction of the pipe, like that, so we know they're off. Okay, so we turned off all the low point drains outside just now to make sure our antifreeze actually stays in the system. If we were to leave those open, the antifreeze would get sucked into the system here and just drain right back out like the water did. And we don't want that. We want this to stay in the system. So first thing we're going to do is come on over here and I'll show you. We're going to... Okay. So like I said before, we're going to close this valve right here because we don't want the antifreeze to go back into the tank. So I'm closing that one right now. I'm going to take this filter off and there's a screen inside here. We're going to take the screen out like that, because we don't want the screen in there, because with the screen the antifreeze is just going to go in there and make a mess. But we don't want to lose this either, so I just recommend to leave it right in here and then go ahead and put this part back on. See, it's right in here. Put it on nice and tight so you don't get any leaks. And that's it. Now this here, you want to take this off. Which I'm going to need a wrench for, so I'll be right back. I got my wrench, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off. I forgot I put it on pretty tight because I didn't want water shooting out as I'm using it. So that's it right there. We're going to set that aside because we're going to need to put that back on. Now, go ahead and show me. Okay, now we're going to take this hose. Remember I showed you this in the beginning. We're going to take this and hook that to where we just took that cap off of. And I'm just going to give it a little cinch down with this, just to make sure I don't get a leak in here and make a mess. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, open my antifreeze, break away the aluminum foil, and take it and set it right down in here. Try not to spill. I'm going to take this hose here and I'm going to put it right in to the antifreeze. Now you see, I got it cut. See how I have it cut on an angle? That'll keep it from sitting flat into the antifreeze and causing a suction and sucking up to the bottom of the gallon container. That way you put it in here like that and it'll draw good. Next I'm going to go and turn the pump on. Alright, let's go back over. You can already hear the pump running. It's trying to charge the system up. Come on over here. Because the system has no more water in it, the pump will run until it gets some pressure built up. It built up pressure by pulling about half of this gallon out and filled the system. Once it was full, it stopped. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the faucet in the kitchen, both hot and cold, and we're going to turn on the faucet in the bathroom, both hot and cold, and also do the shower hot and cold. So come on, let's go do that. Okay, so I've got this extension here, so that works a lot better because you want to try to keep it as clean as you can, so that way you can put it right down into the drain. They recommend running at least 2 cups. Okay, back. They recommend putting at least 2 cups into each P-trap. So what I do is I just let this thing run for a while. I'm gonna put it on cold first. And you can see it came out pretty clear at first, but now we're getting antifreeze. So I'm gonna let that run for a minute or so and shut her down. Now I'm gonna move it over to here, turn it to cold, or turn it to hot, the opposite, and run it through there until I got some good antifreeze showing through. I'm gonna turn that off. All right, let's go do the bathroom. Now in the bathroom here, we have to do hot and cold numbers. So let's do hot first. All right, see how it's spitting like that? That's telling me that we're almost out of antifreeze in the first gallon. Let's go put another gallon on. I'm gonna go turn the water back on for a second. Should start drawing it through. Okay. So now we can't forget about the toilet. So basically we're just gonna run this for a little bit, let the antifreeze run in the toilet, and then go down to the tank when it looks good. Then we're gonna stop. We're gonna let just a little bit of antifreeze stay in the bowl though, because that helps lubricate the seal there. It keeps from drying out while we're winter time. So come on over, you can see that. That's about enough. And that's all the antifreeze we need in there. That's it. Now we'll close it up. Okay, and next we'll do the shower. To do the shower, I got this little bowl here because I want to spray the shower into the bowl instead of making a mess all over the floor of my shower and having to clean that later. So all you gotta do, come on. I'm gonna run the hot and the cold just like before. We'll do the cold first. See, it's all water. Once it turns pink, turn it off so you don't waste too much antifreeze. Water. Okay. Now we want to have this full. A lot of this is water here. I don't want to dump it down my drain here because it's hard to get it out. So now we got the toilet, the shower, the faucet in the bathroom, and the faucet out here. The only thing we got to get now is we got to make sure we don't forget about the outside bathroom and the outside shower. So let's go do that real quick. Open that up. Again, we're going to run both lines to get the antifreeze to fill up everywhere. And then we're going to hit the macerator right here, suck some of that out of there. Where's it at? Put a little bit more in. And that's it for antifreeze on this. Let's go do the shower. So to do the shower out here, I'm gonna open this up. We never really use this thing, but it's probably still got water in it anyways. So I'm gonna run it hot water first. And it's running out pink a little bit. A little bit of this won't hurt the grass, the antifreeze. It's not the same as auto antifreeze. It's made, it's okay to have it run a little bit into the grass. Wouldn't want to drink it still, but it won't kill you. And it won't hurt the grass if it's just little bits in there. While that's draining, let's go inside. We'll finish cleaning up in there. All right, so you don't really want antifreeze sitting in the sinks. I know I said to put it in the toilet. Toilet bowl is different. You want the seal to stay good, so it's fine. But in the sinks, you really want to clean up when you're done. So to do that, it's as easy as just taking a paper towel, wiping out the excess antifreeze you got, which shouldn't be a whole lot. I usually get a little bit more than normal because I'm on a slant here, so it all runs down and away from the drain. But once you get the majority of that, go ahead and just, any kind of cleaner you got, spray it down. Wipe it to get the pink off of everything so it looks good, and then go on to your next sink. I'm not going to make you sit there and watch me do all the sinks in my shower floor because that's kind of boring, so we'll fast forward to the next thing. So we got everything pretty much clean. I want to clean this compartment here, but I wanted to say something first. If you look down in here, if you look down in here, you'll see that the line has some antifreeze in it. You don't want the antifreeze to stay in the line because if you do, they'll fill one. Because if you do, as soon as you unscrew it, you're going to get antifreeze in your compartment there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just set this aside right over here. I'm going to go turn the sink on one last time. Should have done this before I wiped it. I'm going to have to wipe it again, but that's okay. Just so that it sucks the rest of this through here, and then when it's done and that's dry, I'll turn it off, shut the pump down, and we can clean this up. So I'll be right back. Okay, I did that. I turned it on. I sucked all this out of here, but you can hear the pump running. The reason the pump's still running is because it's trying to pump water through here and it can't because it's an open system. So now you got to put this back on. So first what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the pump. Okay. Once we drain the tube here, we go ahead and turn the pump off. That way it doesn't keep just pulling air into the system. I got this set aside. This is a little bit wet in here with antifreeze because I got a little sloppy when I was taking the hose out. So I'm just going to wipe that down because even though you can't see this, we don't want to leave it wet. Definitely don't want to leave antifreeze just laying in there. Next, we're going to put the cap back into here. So come on, take a look here. What we're going to do is just the opposite of what we did before. We're going to take this off. And put this on. I'm not 100% sure what size this is. If anybody knows, comment in the comments below. If I measure it and find out, I will write it on the screen as I'm saying that I don't know. I'll put on what size it actually is. So, but we're going to go ahead and put that back on. Hand tighten it. That's usually pretty good. All right. Now we got everything. Now we just got to put this back together again. Put the mattress on. Clean up a little bit more. And we're good to go. All right. Now that we've got the pump turned off, the bed put back together again, the next thing we got to do is we're going to open the valves just a little bit and leave them open the whole winter. That way that keeps them from going bad. So we're going to use this because we're going to get a little bit of fluid out of these. So we're just going to open it a little bit. There's pressure still in the system, and that's what's causing the antifreeze to still come out. So you don't want it too much, just enough. It will stop eventually. You want to do this on all of your sinks. So you want to do it on here and in the bathroom. Just a little bit so there's no pressure on the valves. All right, see you in a little bit. Now a couple of things you got to remember when you're done winterizing your motorhome is you want to open up the refrigerator. Prop it open so it stays open if you can. I just bought one of these pipe insulators and I'll just stick that in like this and let that go. Okay. Also, they say if you buy some baking soda, throw it in there. That will help get rid of the musty smell. Before I store it away, I go out and I buy those humidifier buckets that suck the water up into the bucket, and then you throw the bucket away. I usually get one of those and I'll throw it in here, prop the bathroom door open. I happen to be lucky enough to store mine inside, so I crack open the vent here just a little bit, and I crack open one of my side windows just a little bit. That way air movement stays moving in here, and I don't have to worry about moisture building up. If you're not so lucky and you have to put it outside somewhere, make sure you come check on your motorhome or your coach at least monthly to make sure you're not getting any moisture in here. And if you are, put another one of those dehumidifier buckets in here. If you two, it doesn't really matter. 1, 2, if you need 2, 3. I also put a mouse, like the poison baits around here. I'd rather a mouse come up here, eat the poison, and die in my motorhome than come up here and make a nest of my couch or something else and just destroy it. And so I'd rather get rid of a dead mouse than have to replace furniture. So I put them all over the place. I even put them down by the tires. So if a mouse decides to run up the tire to try to get in, they see that poison there first and eat it. Hopefully it doesn't work. Hopefully it works. The other thing you got to make sure you remember to do, you're going to store it now. So come over and check this out. Make sure you put this switch right here from use to store. When you do that, it'll turn off the main battery. So your refrigerator light will turn off. Your radio will turn off. Everything will turn off that is normally on a lot. So you want to disconnect your battery, and you do that by just hitting this down into the store position. It'll shut everything off. It will still run, so you don't have to worry about it not running. It'll still run, but your radio won't work if you're trying to drive and listen to the radio. Your refrigerator won't run. You open it up, the light won't turn on. And that'll remind you, you just hit it back to use, and you're good to go. So those are my tips. I hope it's all helped out for you. Okay, so that's it. You watched me winterize the whole thing from start to finish. Like I said, if I missed anything, please comment in the comments below, because I'm going to check it out and I can hurry up and do or fix whatever I happen to screw up. I don't think I did. The only thing I didn't really cover on this is instead of using the antifreeze, you can use air if you have a big enough compressor. I don't have a big enough compressor, but if you do, you can go ahead and hook up the compressor to your city water and then turn all your faucets on and just blast the water through there. Don't run more than 50 psi in your pipes though with the air, or you have the real probability that you're going to burst the pipe. So don't go more than 50 psi on the air. I'm not sure if you could turn faucets on and off to get it to come more through one or the other. If you know, comment like I've been saying. That'll help out probably everybody out there. When you are done with that though, don't forget you still have to put about 2 cups of antifreeze down into all the P-traps and into the shower. Don't forget the shower drain. Don't forget the outdoor shower. That's a big one for people to forget. And don't forget the toilet. Just put a little bit of antifreeze in the toilet so that seal stays good if you're going to use air to blow everything out. So again, hopefully this helped everybody out. I didn't really get into the ice maker too much, but there is a way. There's a video online somewhere that shows how to jump the ice maker so it runs continuously. Easiest thing for me, in my opinion, if I was going to do it, is just disconnect that white tube and let the water drain out. So, all right, I hope this helped. I hope you liked it. I'm going to try to do some more videos like this once in a while on things that I think that people need to know, because YouTube has been indispensable for me to learn how to do things. So I'm just going to try to pass it on and, you know, share the wealth of knowledge that I learned through YouTube and through just doing stuff. So have a good day and a happy camping, everybody. Bye-bye.